Hello friends, today we have a best of 3 show match between two of the models. Both of these models were optimized for the highest possible win rate in the D-Star AI. Now, I did a video about D-Star earlier. This is a machine learning based AI that practically has low Grandmaster skill in the ZVZ matchup. So with all of that info out of the way, let's remove my face from the screen and let's watch some freaking bots go head to head. So Abathur, also known as Model 2 in the first video that I created, against Dehaka, which was Model 4. From now on will be referred to as Dehaka and Abathur. And I just kind of want to go over the difference between these two different models. And I also just want to kind of go deeper into what the correct things are that we usually see professional Zerg players do and what we see these models do. How close are they right now to an actual professional Zerg player in the opening phase when it comes to the micro with the follow-ups? As we see both players opening up with a 16 hatch, which is the golden standard in ZVZ of standard play. It makes sense that this is one of the build orders that gives the highest win rate. Things like 12 pool, 14 pool, 16 pool, 14-14, this type of stuff. These aggressive openers, they might be good against something like a hatch first, but with solid defense, you can always defend with a hatch first. And on top of that, an opener like a 12 who just performs very poorly against an opener like a 16 pool or a 14-14. And thus, if you have a model that would be optimized for having the highest win rate, or is just playing for the highest win rate, it would make sense that they'd play something like hatchery first. Now, I actually kind of missed whether both players pooled in gas, but we see slightly more gas here for Dehaka. So one of the moves that professional Zerg players do is when the gas finishes, is rather than slowly rallying into the gas, they immediately put an extra worker in the gas, getting 3 out of 3, which allows them to start speed a little bit faster. We see quicker queens coming out of Dehaka as well, while Abathur actually was floating a fair amount of money before creating the first 2 queens. So everything is just slightly slower. The initial queens, the initial speed, all of that just slightly delayed compared to Dehaka. We also see very similar scouting patterns here, by the way. So moving towards the middle, and then usually towards the sides to check for a third base or to check for any potential links that will appear in the middle of the map. It might be rallied across. Abathur goes for a quicker hatchery, or has a slightly quicker hatchery, while Dehaka a 32 drone hatchery. Now I think a 30 drone hatchery is the most common one, followed up by 2 more drones and then a baneling nest. So the baneling nest timing for Dehaka feels slightly more realistic, or more realistic, seems better if we compare it to some of the top pro Zerg players. Now, it is possible that these AIs have figured out a better way, but it is also relatively unlikely, as when I played them, none of their build orders seemed extremely tight, and yeah, there seems to be some variance as well between them on what is considered to be best. As even in this game so far, they honestly varied in quite a big way. We see Dehaka slightly more workers right now, and starting a little bit slower as well with the massive link production that we usually see. No scouts coming out either yet on both sides, honestly. No links being sacrificed to see whether there's a baneling nest, making sure that there's no roach war, no evo chamber. There really has been absolutely zero scouting so far, except for the overlords just kind of moving across the map. Dehaka currently isn't even aware of the fact that there's a third base, and neither is Abathur. So neither player knows of the other one that there is a third base already. Evo chamber going down, and we have a relatively passive early game here, honestly. Couple of links, couple of banes, and it seems that both players want to engage one another on the map right now. Here comes the first baneling. Does not quite get the explosion it wants to. Oh my god, that is really, really tight actually. One baneling does end up getting targeted down before it ends up producing. And well, it's going to be 1 baneling detonation on 3 links here. The initial micro seems slightly better for Abathur so far, but honestly nothing too worrisome. Perhaps it's just the unit movement so far that was in Abathur's favor. Abathur up 2 workers, has 2 more on the way. So we see continued link production coming out of Dehaka, and now starts moving in towards a 4th base as well. That's a very fast 4th base before the 3rd is saturated while floating 9 larvae. An extremely inefficient play here out of Dehaka. which doesn't make a lot of sense. If you have larva to spend and your base isn't saturated yet, what's the point? That was a big bailing hit as well, killing about 8 to 9 drones, I believe, or 8 to 9 drones, 8 to 9 links there. So big bane hit, and Abathur now might actually want to counterattack, throwing down a Spire already as well. Usually in professional StarCraft in ZVZ, the Spire is considered to be the best building in the ZVZ matchup. It gives you a lot of control. It allows you to play a very aggressive Ling Bane style with it, just continuously sacrificing Banes into your opponent's mineral line, killing workers, and then eventually kind of leveraging that lead into some type of win. Especially if you can deny the fort base for a long time, Mutas tend to be extremely powerful. One queen does end up getting sniped there, and we see something that I've noticed before, is that we kind of have continued queen production out of these Zerg players, even if it doesn't make much sense. That's not so much true on the side of Abathur, but Dehaka, well, lost one queen and now is building 2 more, is going back up to 4. +1 range is about to finish up as well. Not a single roach is out, 55 workers in. It has been pure Ling Bane against, well, pure Ling Bane basically. These Banelings actually missing some potentially big hits. Weird drone transfer as well here from the 3rd base to the 4th. Kind of nonsensical. Saying, hey, this base ain't safe no more. I want to have 10 workers at my 4th and 8 workers or 9 workers at my 3rd base. First 7 Mutas are out once again. Absolutely zero clue as to what's going on here on the side of Dehaka. Is not even aware of the fact that there's a Spire or a lair in the natural, which is kind of odd that that's being built in the natural as well here. Makes it a lot easier to scout. This is a bad position to fight in, but with these Banelings, perhaps a couple of decent hits could come out of this. There we go, one big Baneling hit. And the links will get in the main. See the Mutalisk. What is the response? We see instant queen production. Spores going down as well. Glial reconstitution has already started. And +2 is on the way as well. No Hydra then. No spores being built at this base either. Creep spread is mainly towards the front, not so much towards the side. You'd obviously want to be connecting these bases to make the movement of the queen slightly easier. Lots of roaches in production as well, which is somewhat nonsensical, I would say. Unless you want to go for like a queen roach attack within the next 30 seconds, you'd probably prefer getting more drones, adding spores in between bases as well. Right now, queens are just getting picked off because they're just marching around the map. I'm not quite sure what these 4 queens are doing, but they prefer targeting down this overlord over saving their own overlords with transfuses or attacking these mutas. At the same time, these roaches start moving across the map and might actually cause a little bit of trouble here, as we see Abathur completely ignoring these roaches that got sent across the map, while at the same time we see Dehaka kind of ignoring these Mutalisks as well. Now we have a couple of extra spores going down. There's no spore in the main base, and these roaches will be capable of sniping a queen, maybe a drone here or there, but with the links and the reinforcing Mutas will be capable of taking everything down. This roach counterattack gets shut down. The Mutalisk will continue flying around. A cute little micro. Spore gets taken out. No cancel on the spore, by the way. Interesting little detail there. That mechanics definitely not perfect. Both players, or both models, I should say, averaging about 350 APM. Abathur slightly higher. Current APM is also quite high. Obviously, with that Muta harass, APM naturally is going to increase a little bit. Upgrades for Abathur limited to the Spire as well. No melee upgrades, although there has been almost a constant stream of links as well. 111 links have already died. There's still 30 links on the map as well. So getting an Evo chamber and a +1 upgrade, whether that be Carapace or melee, probably would have been worth it. I can only imagine. Now, double spores covering this. I think this initially was the 3rd base, but Dehaka honestly feels pretty dead. The army count is quite large. There is still 6 queens with a lot of transfuses available as well. Actually getting the transfuse there on that roach. And with +2 done, maybe there's an opportunity to move across the map. These mutas are split in 2 groups. I'm not quite sure what the reason is for this. They are going to meet up right now. Perhaps start fighting these roaches, as the movement of the Dehaka is just really odd to watch. Like, if you'd want to attack, you'd wait for the queens to cover your roaches. And if you'd want to defend, well, then you wouldn't be moving out. So, yeah, it just doesn't make much sense. A lot of these roaches are dying for no real reason. This queen is in the incorrect position as well here. We have a couple of roaches making it towards the other side of the map, but links are in position to deal with this basically immediately. And Abathur honestly is in very firm control of this game right now. Still, no real upgrades for the ground. and just continuing to push out more and more Mutalisks. No fourth base being taken, although gas is the limiting factor here right now. There's plenty of minerals in the bank. Getting gas 7 and 8 would be huge if you want to continue your mass Muta production, obviously. Does not seem to be on the list of priorities. At the same time, there's only 32 drones on the side of the Dehaka. The Dehaka is practically dead. Throwing down 8 spine crawlers would honestly just solidify the position here of Abathur, and this is a move that you would expect from a high-level professional Zerg player, but it's a move that we're not seeing here right now out of Abathur. Of course, I still believe that Abathur is just going to be fine. Couple of queens at home, transfuses not the quickest. These Muta reinforcements will be capable of cleaning up these roaches eventually, but a lot of drones are actually falling right now. We might be heading into some base trade situation. There's still 9 queens. These queens are moving across the map. There's a lot of transfuse energy available. If these queens would have hit together with the roaches, and I mean, they have what, like almost 4 transfuses each with the upgrades. I mean, it's still only 6 queens against 29 mutas. The funny thing is that it feels like Abathur uses the reinforcements in one group and then uses the main muta force in a different group. And they almost never really come together. And once they form one group, that is the new main group. And then the next reinforcements form the new reinforcement. So it's kind of cool to see how that movement works. A couple of mutas do split off to fight this Overlord, probably because of A moves across the map. You see that rather than move commanding, a lot of the time A move gets used, but just a single A move command, which will allow him to continue attacking this Overlord. And often these mutas kind of just get caught up chasing either links around the map or attacking a static Overlord that isn't really doing anything. Kind of interesting to see that not a lot of move commands are being issued on these Mutalisks. That also explains why their movement feels so odd. Like, they often first move over towards a queen to try and attack it, and then it's like they realize, wait, I don't want to fight this. Then they get move commanded away. So it's probably something they started copying from players, a lot of attack moves. Not quite sure if this is the most efficient use of that attack move though. Of course, they initially got trained by getting fed human replays, and then after a while they started training with one another, started creating some other habits. And yeah, it's also one of the reasons why the APM isn't so high, because they're trying to copy humans, or initially were trying to copy humans. At least that's what I've been explained. 35 mutas are out right now. I mean, this game is very, very over. One of the few things that I truly dislike about the bots fighting one another is that they don't seem to be very capable of leaving games before, before all their buildings die, which means that every single time we watch one of them games, or every single time you play one of the games against them, you will need to wait until every single building gets destroyed. And well, that can take a while, especially if these mutas aren't really focused on the task at hand and seem to love flying around, just having a blast, deciding what target to pick, deciding maybe I should go back, well, maybe I shouldn't. As we once again just see these mutas kind of idly flying around, not doing very much of anything. There's about 10 links still on the map, 21 links still on the map. There's 2 Overlords, but there's not a single drone. There's not enough money to build any more drones. The moment all of these bases go down, this game is just going to absolutely be over. And yeah, that's just what we're going to be waiting for. I actually just speed up this replay a little bit. Can't really be bothered to wait all the way for that. It's kind of funny to see how inefficient Abathur it is, but I guess if you have infinite time, then this is a completely fine way to spend your time. Sadly, I do not have infinite time in my life, so I'm going to 2 times this replay real fast, and we'll get to the end of this. The Dehaka now has not rebuilt their base and is being revealed. And all the mutas will now finally take out the extractor, and that will be it. So Abathur wins game number 1 in this best of 3. And we'll be heading into game number 2. And as it's on the same map, I'm really curious how similar these games will play out, because it's the same agent. But obviously there's going to be some type of, there's going to be some diversity, just naturally, because things change. Maybe they have different positions. I'm really curious how that will play out in the next few games. Game number 2 here on New Repugnancy once again. Of course, the Dehaka top right, Abathur bottom left this time around. So they swapped the positions, and we'll see if it's going to have any major consequences. Oh, I wanted to pay attention to this, by the way, to see the drone stacking. So usually in high-level games, what you want to do is you want to get your drones to the closest possible mineral patches as soon as you can. This will increase your mining. So this drone, every pro player would have one of these drones, either this one, or this one, moved onto this mineral patch because it would increase the mining. But it's fun to see that something that is objectively true, like it's just objectively true that gives you better mining, is not being used. Same with just regular drone stacking here. Like the drones are we're bouncing around a fair amount rather than being rallied to a correct mineral patch. They all are at a correct mineral patch right now. We have 16 workers. Was this a 17 hatch? 8. This is 11. And this is like 16. Yeah, I think this was a 17 hatch. 17 hatch out of Abathur is interesting. Whenever you show a pro Zerg a 17 hatch, they'll start screaming. And, you know, they'll get... they just start feeling bad in their stomach. You start going to the toilet a lot. Some of them might even puke. You gotta be real careful showing top Zergs replays of someone playing 17 hatch. It's just slightly more inefficient, slightly more inefficient than a 16 hatch, but it is inefficient for no real reason. Oh, you see, this is the pooling gas, by the way, that I was talking about. And this is the pooling gas that we're not seeing here. So this was rallied in gas, and we saw Dehaka go for a pool in gas. Kind of cool to see. There's a small difference here. I think he might have taken this gas late because the gas count is still exactly the same. Usually if you're pooling gas a bit faster, I think you have like 8 more gas. I think that is what might have happened last game. Overlord at 20 as well. Rather than that, we see... this was a later hatchery. We don't see an... no, the Overlord is already done here, isn't it? Okay, so Overlord here must have been a little bit earlier as well. Speed starts on the side of the Dehaka. Does not pull one out of gas, which is absolutely standard. Okay, this is the opposite of standard. Usually, Zerg players leave 2 drones in gas so they can quickly still afford a baling nest after they throw down a 3rd base. This type of opener that Abathur is doing right now would make sense if Abathur would follow this up with 2-base Roach. No, but then still wouldn't make sense because you wouldn't get speed. You just get a wall with an Evo chamber and a Roach Warren. You wouldn't need link speed if you're playing 2-base Roach. This makes... Okay, I just don't think this makes any sense from a professional ZVZ point of view. Or at least, I have not seen a build order like this yet. Not that I'm aware of yet. Your baling nest is going to be denied or delayed, which means that your 3rd base will be vulnerable to any early link bane pressure. Or just even any big link floods. You'll need to preemptively start building links in order to gain map control, I think. And you'll get slightly more mineral mining for that. So there might be some games somewhere where this is played, but this is extremely uncommon. And especially if it follows up with a baling nest as well. Wow. Okay, yeah, you don't see this very often. We already see 1 baling on the way. Of course, the moment the Dehaka decides to stay passive, that could be quite okay here for the Dehaka. The Dehaka already getting an Evo chamber, 2nd gas. Just 2 banelings, extremely high drone count right now, as a bunch of links are being produced on the side of Abathur, who is down 6 workers, is going to be down 9 workers. Now, you might be thinking that the bot is starting to become, conscious and, self-aware. But actually, this was me typing in the window. I was wondering if it was possible as the game was running. And I left it running, and then I came back from grabbing my food, and I was like, yeah, can I type? And I could type. And I was thinking of flaming the Dehaka a little bit, but I decided against it. So, yeah. the ASD is me. I swear, guys. The bots have not become self-aware yet. They're not capable of speech. Not yet. Alright, so a couple of banelings here. And one of them will explode on top of 2 links. The queens are moving over. This bane is extremely exposed and actually went in for the explosion. This means that these queens are now exposed. Worker count is kind of equal. Banelings coming in. Try to get good connections. Do not quite get it though. No target fire on the banes by the queens, which means that these banes get way more done than I think they should have. A couple more links are going to fall. Good transfuse though is definitely going to save that 1 queen. There's 1 transfuse still remaining as well over here. And +1 range is already started. Roach Warren is on the way. Layer once again here for Abathur. Abathur has a faster layer. So we see Dehaka going into a higher queen count, up to 5 currently. Roach Warren as well. So it seems that Dehaka is a lot more keen on playing roaches. And Abathur is very keen on playing Aspire build, some kind of Muta stuff. We'll have to wait and see what is going to be victorious here, because a lot of queens have already been built. 5 queens are out. These queens are even starting to march on the map a little bit right now. Whether it is to target down banelings or because they want to kill some overlords, I'm not quite sure. Lots of links are actually marching across the map. 25 links against 12. 25 links are actually in favor as well of Dehaka, who also has, well, similar worker count, but is up in upgrades and has the Roach Horn done. So a Roach timing attack here could be very successful, while Abathur most likely is just going to be throwing down a Spire again. Lots of links on the way as well here for Abathur, who does not quite have the cash yet for a Spire. We'll clean up this little push, and now, probably when the money is available, should start getting into that building if he wants to get it. Or an Evo Chamber and a Roach Horn is of course also viable, but no, there's indeed going to be that Spire. +2 already on the way here for Dehaka. Continue sending in single banelings. And so far the overall micro, or the overall units lost, is in favor of Dehaka as well. Up 15 workers right now. A couple of roaches on the way. There's going to be a timing push here, and this timing push is going to hit like a bag of bricks in the face of Abathur. And Abathur already didn't have the prettiest face, if I recall correctly from the campaign. They're being hit by a bag of bricks. I doubt that will improve very much. No offense, of course, Abathur, if you're watching. I think you're a cool dude with your evolutions, but calm down a little bit, okay? Gonna need to build more drones, get these extra gases going, and a quick scout, whether drones or roaches are being produced right now, would be very helpful. Instead we see a surround on the queens. Not entirely confident in the own decisions there was Abathur. Not sure whether he wanted to take out these queens or go in for a scout or run back or go for the queens. And we saw some hesitation, and hesitation can be deadly in a game of StarCraft 2. Spire is about to finish up, so the Mutas will make it on the map, but there's 7 queens out already. 5 queens are moving across the map. Now please do note, this is pre-patch before Blizzard nerfed the queen transfuse. You're currently in the live game are not capable of transfusing off creep anymore, but in this version of the game you are capable, as these AIs are running on an older version of the game. Couple of queens right now moving back towards the natural. Roaches, Ravagers pushing in already. How many Mutas do we have? We have 5 Mutalisk, 4 more on the way. Is these Roaches actually struggling to do much of anything? Is there a run by? There is a small run by. I think you can clear these 2 Roaches, no, with this link count? Well, Abathur doesn't believe so, and then, well, if Abathur doesn't believe so, I'm not quite sure what that says, but queens are now moving forward, targeting down overlords rather than moving in and killing Mutas. A couple of Banes here exploding in these drones. No response whatsoever out of Abathur. Boom, boom, boom. More and more drones are falling, and I think this push is actually just straight up going to kill. A couple of Biles will hit these queens. The queens in the back here for Dehaka should be capable of dealing with the Mutas. Although it is a lot of Mutas, the transfuses should be plenty. As there's 5 queens with the +2 upgrade, I really do believe that this is going to be enough. This is the most interesting Bile that I've seen in my life. Not very good, but interesting nonetheless. A couple of roaches here on the third base, and this game is absolutely over. 170 supply against 46. And Dehaka with a very tight roach timing. No fort base this time around, by the way, which is kind of weird. I guess Dehaka was under a little more pressure this time around. Maybe it's better to be under pressure so that you don't get the fast fort base, because last time that fast fort base was proper crap. A lot of money being floated as well right now. 12 larvae are available, so I don't quite see the reason why that would be. 2 overs. Oh, supply block. Huh. Who would have thought that the AIs would get supply block? Mechanically really not that sound, which is kind of funny. Like, to think about, is that these AIs really don't have the greatest mechanics. So a lot of it has to be decision making, but I mean the micro also isn't great. And whenever I look at the decisions, they also don't seem amazing. Perhaps it's unit movement? I'm not quite sure what makes these AIs so good. When I was playing them myself and I was losing, I was kind of confused, because you look and you see very obvious mistakes, which you don't see when you see some of the top players play. But still, they were beating me, and I don't like to think of myself as a bad player, even though I'm not a Zerg main. But it is just really quite off. It's weird to watch, because I can't quite identify where their real power lies. I guess they're quite decisive in what they do. No, even that isn't necessarily true. So yeah, this is a win here for Dehaka. Score is 1-1, and we'll be heading into our final game, which is also played on New Repugnancy. Here's the final game of the best of 3 between these two beautiful AI models. Ooh! Whoa, 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 whoa! Did we see that? Did we see that? I'll just go back for that in case you guys missed it. So initially I just want to point out that there's no split, but look at the move that's about to happen here. This is kind of sick, because I hadn't seen it before. But look at this. Look at this. This guy goes back, and look what he does. Look at this. Okay, not yet. Not yet. Next one. I swear. It's about to happen. Ooh. Microed it to a close patch. I hadn't seen that before yet. I had not seen that before yet. And here, look at this. This patch. This one could just go there right now. And it is. It is. It just got selected to send there. Okay, so sometimes they do the mineral patch micro and sometimes they don't. Because this worker just bounced off. Which should not be happening in the early game ever. And now Dehaka is the one playing a 17 hatch. You've got to be kidding me. They just alternate between who is the idiot. And now it's Dehaka's turn. Also sending the drone too late, by the way. 25 minerals. It's kind of sick how inconsistent they are in their own build orders. And that they sometimes just do things worse. I wonder why that is. This doesn't make any sense. But I love it. I really do like that. Okay, extractor gets taken. I once again want to see these gases as well. This type of stuff truly interests me. I'm quite surprised that things in the early game are this much different, basically. It's confusing. It really is slightly confusing. Alright, let's have a look though to see if anyone is going to be switching it up. So here we go, pulling into gas, one more into gas. Yep, quick pull into gas, sends 4 into gas even. Well, that's not correct. Yeah, pulls out of gas now. The amount of silly, weird mistakes that get made is it just feels wrong in a way. That they get the build orders incorrect or they send like a drone. Like it's like watching myself play Zerg, basically, when I was trying to learn Zerg. There's just all these things that it feels like they're just not confident in their opening build order. It is the oddest little thing. Magical. Computers, man. How do they work? How do they work? Alright, Overlord Scout forward. Very far forward, by the way. Sees the drone count. This is actually a Zerg move as well. Checking how many drones there are on the low ground. It's like, so you can kind of tell what type of build this is going to be. Is it going to be an all-in, or are there going to be a lot of links already building? This type of stuff. Dehaka's going for the 30 hatchery. Kind of the golden standard. Rallies it up before it gets there as well. And has to build one more drone. It's kind of cute to see these mistakes. It really is just... It's odd, but cute. Third queen on the way here. Before the baning nest. There's a lot of gas being mined right now for Abathur. We'll get the baling nest, not in the wall. None of these players, by the way, creating a wall with the baling nest, evo chamber, roach warren, like we see in high level ZVZ, 99% of the times. This allows you to just completely seal off a base if you need to, which is super useful for Zerg because of Ling run buys. Like it's having walls is literally the greatest thing against Zerg. For Terran, for Zerg, and for Protoss as well. Like, you need to have a wall, because Zerglings are just too powerful otherwise. They're so fast, they can kill your workers at very high speed. Banelings can run by into your mineral lines as well, which is something that is usually not wanted. No matter how good your splits are. I'm looking at you, Van Damme. Like, most likely a couple of drones are gonna get hit by these banelings, so it doesn't really matter. Alright, two defensive banes. One of the things that is interesting is that Dehaka, so far every single time, has been the defender. Getting these defensive banelings rather than pulling out any aggressive moves. And very focused on increasing the drone count. Now usually you build 10 links and then get two banelings. Now, here we see he built 8 links and got 2 banelings, so very close to an actual professional build order. I feel like Dehaka is the closest to an actual top Zerg. Like Evo Chamber, the positioning isn't perfect, but it all feels to kind of make sense. The 5th Queen is usually not there, but I could be wrong, but I believe it's usually not there. We're gonna be seeing these 18 links come out as well right now. Lairs on the way. And this Overlord's gonna get taken out. Okay. Interesting stuff. Look at this queen. This is very far out. How can this queen be defended? Now we have that fast forward base again coming in. So if there is no pressure being put on the Dehaka, if the Dehaka doesn't feel scared, the Dehaka doesn't feel afraid of dying, the Dehaka will just get a forward base really quickly. And I think that is bad. So for the Dehaka's sake, the best thing to happen is for the other model to attack the Dehaka, because I think the win rate will be higher without the forward base. Because I think the forward base is genuinely a crap plan. Yeah, no injects being used here either on the third right now. Spire on the way already. So this is going to be a very quick Spire once again. And I'm not quite sure if this time a timing will be possible. There's just more money here for Abathur. There are no banelings in positions. A couple of these drones might just end up falling. No, the link switch targets. These queens are going to be the targets. Look at it, the target fire there. Targeting down the low drones, making sure that they die. Here we go. Hop, hop, hop. Ling run by does get taken out. 4 workers killed by Abathur. Whose Spire is halfway done right now. Do we have any scout whatsoever of the main base? No, we still don't. Layer produced in the main, by the way, rather than in the natural, like in game number 1. Just wanna mention that. A little bit of variation there. A little bit of diversity, which base gets the layer. Nice to see. These links are going to catch Abathur's links. Yeah, the Dehaka has a nice worker count, has a good queen count, it's pretty decent upgrades as well, but definitely is still lacking some information. As these queens start marching across the map right now, 8 more drones on the way. We see a gas being taken, a 5th gas being taken at the 4th base. Drones rallying towards the 3rd, while the 4th is also up. The drone rallies just don't make a lot of sense. Look at this. We can live see these rallies move as well every single time. That's kind of cool. Individually rallied hatcheries. Look at that. These two are going to the same spot, I think. But the natural was going somewhere else, no? At least earlier it was. I swear, I could see it. Oh, look at this. The main is going over here. So individually rallied. And 3 out of the 4 of the drone rallies go towards the 4th base, and 1 of them will go into the 3rd. So the eco is fantastic right now for the Dehaka, after I chased rally points for the past 45 seconds. The eco is fantastic for the Dehaka, but the tech isn't quite as brilliant. Mutas are out already. There is 7 queens, which should probably be enough. No spores being built yet, though. I feel like a spore per mineral line is should be a very good rule to follow once you see a Mutalisk pop out. I don't think there's too much wrong there. Mutas will target down these banelings. Queens moving across the map. 12 roaches on the way as well. We're once again just going to see a queen walk. And there is just a lot of supply. So this definitely could work. At the same time, these Mutas are being super annoying. Just picking off reinforcing queens. Picking off reinforcing roaches and ravagers. Queens continue marching. Queens continue marching. 15 Mutas are out right now. They stay on the other side of the map. Do need to return home at some point. How many transfuses do we have here? We have 3 on this one, 3 on this one, 3 here. 1. Well, I can't count, but it's a lot of them. 12 transfuses. So these are some beefy queens. And at the same time, of course, these roaches will be going absolutely ham as well. The Mutas go for a base trade rather than doing something else. Ling run by towards the 4th base. So we actually have a complete base race scenario right now going on. The Mutas attacking the spores, but of course spores do a lot of damage against the Mutalisk. Bunch of spores being produced in the natural, not a single spine though. More spores going down. Okay, so in a base trade scenario, we're gonna get some spores. No aggressive spores being used, as there is, what is this, 7, 8 Mutas right now. 9 Mutalisk will try to defend against these 6 queens, but these 6 queens will soon have +2 as well. That's going to make life even harder. Link's running in towards the natural. I think these drones got saved from either the 3rd or the 4th. We have this 4 still going ham as well. Not a single spine has been created yet here by Abathur. I think Abathur is in a bit of trouble. He's already starting to build buildings around the map. And now the question is, what is the Dehaka's plan here? The main base, not a single spore. The natural, completely protected with, 7 spore crawlers. Fantastic stuff. Both of these bases are going to fall. All drones are in the process of dying as well. I think if all Mutas run towards this queen army, they would just be capable of cleaning it up. And then you don't have to take a proxy base. At that point, it feels like Abathur still has a chance at winning. If you clear all the queens and then start working on the roaches, there's no more money. This is it. This is all that Abathur is ever going to get. Ever. 17 Mutalisks, that's it. Period. 3 more spores on the way right now. And slowly but surely crawling forward with these spore crawlers as well. There's now 1 spore in the main base. No queen production in the main base, although there is money available. Roaches find the hidden base. And there's absolutely nothing that can be done right now. This game has technically ended, but isn't over yet. And the reason it's not over yet is because... Well, no, actually, it feels pretty over. Is it possible that Dehaka falls asleep at the keyboard? And just... Like, imagine all these roaches die. Like, right about now. And then Dehaka continues rallying individual roaches towards this hatchery. Individual roaches can be taken out. Look at this. This is a manor hatch. This is proper manor hatching. I did not know that the AI could manor hatch. Nah, I don't think there's any way that this goes wrong, right? Like, if it gets stuck or something like that, just rallying roaches into Mutalisks, and then eventually runs out of money. It is unlikely, though, because queens are also on the way, and we know that Dehaka is very fond of walking queens across the map. These bases are just going to be mining, and attacking into the spores will be impossible. So eventually there's just going to be a queen count, right? That will be too high. I'm also afraid that Abathur eventually will want to kill something, might just start flying into spores. So Abathur has not rebuilt their base and is being revealed. This does not really seem to face Dehaka whatsoever. It's like, well, I got 19 roaches. I mean, I could get burrow and tunneling claws, burrow over, snipe the extractor, then head back home. But I could also build 2 overlords, a hatchery on the other side of the map, and kind of continue with my life as I knew it before I had the information of the entire map being revealed. I was actually just going to walk across the map. So the moment walks on creep. Is that a response? Yep, we see a response. And Dehaka decides to go in towards the natural. Okay, one. See? Doesn't know what to do. Just popping in between. Look at that. Where's the priority here? That is so funky. Look, even now, not quite sure what to do. I mean, there's only one goal here, and that's killing this extractor. I like the stutter stepping micro, though. Like, the moment they have achieved, they have acquired a target, they know exactly how they want to kill it and how to optimize the damage output. But acquiring the target, the correct target, seems to be very difficult for them. It's kind of fun to see. 11 more roaches on the way, but 1 extractor has gone down. So if the actual cost is 19 roaches per extractor, well, we'll be here for a little bit more then. The manor hatch is gonna get taken out. These roaches, I'm not quite sure what they're doing, but they're having the time of their lives. Carapace upgrade is on the way right now as well. A bunch of roaches just idling, the queens running around. I mean, you could just build more queens as well. Does not quite seem to be a priority right now. No extra bases being built either. 3 roaches, 4 roaches moving around, 6 roaches moving around. Do get spotted here by the mutas, but the mutas also decide that this absolutely is not the priority. This is really weird to watch. Makes me feel... I'm not sure if it makes me feel bad for losing. But I guess they're just not very good at finishing games, because it's not so important. Right? If you've won the game, what's the point of getting better at finishing games fast? There's no point. Yeah, so now the game is over. Dehaka wins, so... Yeah, Model D is the best one here in this best of 3. That is also, I believe, what Yasonu told me. In win rate overall, Dehaka tends to beat the other 2 bots with the high win rate. So it's not a complete surprise, but still kind of cool to see. I feel like the Spire has way more potential as well. It always feels like Dehaka is on a bit of a timer. Luckily, the timer now worked out, but usually it feels like just build order wise, Dehaka has a worse chance than Abathur, at least like against each other here, you know. So it's funny to see Dehaka win the majority of the games. Anyway, that's going to be it today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy it. Yeah, that's just going to be it. I hope you guys enjoy these videos about the AI. Don't forget that you can play against them yourselves. I'll once again leave the link to it in the description of this video. You can also train your own models. That all seemed way too complicated for me, but there is like a little guide on how to do that exactly, which is also linked in the description. It's at the GitHub itself. Just scroll down a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching and bye-bye.